For weeks, it's been the worst kept secret in the history of dirt sheets, but let's see who's going on to the Mae Young Classic final at Evolution. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? For one more time tonight, it's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC reality check, and this is your Mae Young Classic semi-final review for October 24th, 2018, aka this is the last video in this series because I'm not going to be reviewing Evolution. We will be doing the pay-per-view pick 'em tomorrow for Evolution. We're going to talk about that in greater detail at that point. But as far as this series goes, I want to say thank you guys for once again following along with me on this when something like this comes along, like the Cruiserweight Classic, like the Mae Young Classic, you know, Season 1, I guess you could say, in this one. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hope you guys will follow us as we talk about the Evolution pay-per-view that's happening this coming Sunday. But this has been a fun series. I'm not gonna lie, with the introduction of what's it called? With the introduction of NXT UK, having 3 shows to review on one day, it's not been fun, as you can tell. I'm a little bit tired watching these late to begin with, but also doing basically watch a show, do a review, watch a show, do a review, watch a show, do a review. Hasn't been the easiest because I do, unlike some people here, I do have a real job and I get up stupid early. As I say, I'm always doing these videos at ridiculous o'clock. I also get up stupid early to go to work. So, you know, starting next week I'll only be doing the 2 NXTs, which is a lot easier to swallow. And I mean, I can do the videos as soon as NXT is over rather than waiting another hour or so, depending on what the rest of my day has. That doesn't change anything though. It's been fun. I like the Mae Young Classic. I like the fact that it came back. Kind of makes me hope they do a second Cruiserweight Classic, but I mean, they need to do something to fix 205 Live. That's a separate story for another day. We got 2 matches. We got Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai, and we got Toni Storm versus Meiko Satomura. There's 2 spots. There's only 2 people that are going to go to Evolution. And as I say, because these things are pre-taped, they were swimming around in the dirt sheets. You know, I heard here and there who it might have been. I tried to avoid it because I heard who it was last year. No offense to Kairi Sane. I'm happy with her. I'm happy to review what she does on NXT, but you know, you want to treat this as much of a live event as you possibly can, and as we know, the internet doesn't let us do that these days. But let's talk about it. Toni Storm versus Meiko Satomura for the first semifinal match. They started off obviously with the handshake. They do a lot of video because there's only 2 matches on tonight's show, so there was a lot of video packaging, a lot of reviewing, a lot of pageantry, I guess you could say, especially after the matches, and I appreciate that. It's cool. It's feel-good moments and stuff like that. But as far as the match itself, we got a nice respectful handshake between Toni Storm and Meiko Satomura. They do on commentary try to outline the fact that these guys have, or sorry, these ladies have fought before. They fought to a draw the last time they fought, I believe they said. I didn't write it down, so excuse my tired brain. But we start with the handshake, collar and elbow tie up as Storm works the arm, a headlock by Satomura, a headlock gets reversed by Storm, and a figure 4 headlock by Satomura. Kicks by Satomura, and a headlock by Storm, and a shoulder tackle. Boot by Storm, and a kick to the back, and some headbutts. The headbutts by Toni Storm. The way she rears back when she does the headbutt is absolutely fucking brutal. Snap vertical suplex by Storm, kicks to the leg by Satomura. Those, you know, the strong style kicks, I don't want to imagine those happening to me. They'd knot up your thigh, something fierce. Modified figure 4 by Satomura lasts quite a while. You know, a lot of writhing, a lot of selling by Toni Storm, which is good. Forearms by Storm, spin kick by Satomura, uppercut, leg, a leg and headlock by Storm. Basically grapevines the leg and the head, and it's pretty nasty. And Satomura, they spent a lot of time on commentary talking about, like, you know, how good is it that a veteran like this can't immediately escape Storm's hold. It must be something very special, etc. Hip attack by Storm. Fisherman suplex with a bridge was fucking gorgeous. Suicide dive by Storm when she bangs her elbow on the rampway outside. She's a shining wizard, which was gorgeous. followed by just a bog standard boot to the face. Both women trade boots. There's an interesting little spot. There's a lot of spots, especially in guys' matches, where like the fight completely breaks down and it's like you take a punch, I take a punch, you take a punch, I take a punch, and eventually one of us is going to fall over. Now these ladies did this with boots to the face. DDT by Satomura, cartwheel knee by Satomura, and she hits her Death Valley driver, and no! Near fall. Toni Storm with the snap German and a Storm Zero, and no! Near fall. Pele kick by Satomura, a high knee, a scorpion kick. Another attempt at the Death Valley driver gets reversed into another Storm Zero, and Storm gets the win. And the minute that 3 count goes down, I gotta say, not only am I behind Toni Storm 110%, but I'm genuinely happy to see somebody that overcome by emotion, that overcome by, you know, living their dreams. And she does grab the mic, and she is kind of a mess when they ask her how she's feeling, but she does thank all the people in the back and all the people in the audience and WWE for letting her, you know, live her true dream and all that sort of thing. There is a massive show of respect between Toni Storm and Meiko Satomura. They both sort of bow to each other in the ring. As Satomura leaves the ring, and we see Kairi Sane, the winner of last year's Mae Young Classic, presenting Storm with the celebration bouquet of flowers, that type of thing. It's very nice. It's sort of like, it's in the same vein as a passing of the torch. Now, neither one of these women is the actual winner yet, but, you know, congratulations, you're going on to the last match. Have a bouquet of flowers, have a photo op with Kairi Sane. It's all very nice. On the rampway, you see this very sort of solemn moment between Meiko Satomura and Triple H. The respect sort of silently shown between the two of them is friggin' amazing. And obviously Toni Storm, when she gets up the rampway, she's just, you know, she's crushing Triple H with a big hug, and it's all good, and it's a very feel-good moment. And I go back and watch my the last Mae Young Classic reviews that I did. I really like Toni Storm. She, I gotta believe, is going to be the face of the women's division over in NXT UK. So I'm very happy for her. Even if she doesn't win on Sunday, to which I honestly don't know what my prediction is right now, so incredibly happy for her. As when I started this year's Mae Young Classic, I said I had my favorites. You know, I had Caitlyn. It was really cool to see Madison Rayne in there. Ela Dawn, I'm becoming a big fan of. Killer Kelly, I'm becoming a big fan of, as I said earlier tonight in my NXT UK review. But if it was going to be somebody coming back from last year, really, really glad it was Toni Storm. And it's kind of cool because this is the match. This is the stage where she was eliminated last year. So even if she doesn't win on Sunday, she still made it farther than she did last year. So it's already a victory, if you will allow me to be sentimental for a second. Second match is not so mutually respectful as the first, because you got Rhea Ripley, who has transformed herself into this amazing, kick-ass, do-not-give-a-shit female diesel of a heel, taking on Io Shirai, who's, you know, everybody's favorite. Everybody loves Io Shirai. I'm starting to like the entrance with the mask, where she comes in with the mask and then takes it off as part of her entrance. She does it. Andrade Cien Almas also does it. I wasn't sure how I felt about it for a while, but now that I've seen her a couple of times, it works. I mean, I'm not one of the people that was incredibly excited to have her come in because I wasn't familiar with her before the tournament, but everything I've seen so far is fucking fantastic. So let's talk about this match. A lot of talk about the last round. Last week we talked about Tegan Nox and the absolutely heartbreaking scenario with her messing up her leg, not being able to continue in the tournament. Really, really sucks. The one thing I wasn't particularly a fan of was when they did the replay of her hurting herself last week. They kept on going back to that one shot of Rhea Ripley shrugging it off and sort of like laughing it off. Now, as I say, she's being a great heel, and I get that, but there's only so many times you can replay somebody smirking and shrugging their shoulders at a legitimate injury before it's like, maybe you want to move on. So if I want to nitpick this episode, if I want to nitpick this iteration of the Mae Young Classic, that's pretty much the only thing I can think of to nitpick, and that's still a great testament to how the Mae Young Classic has been this time, in the larger scheme of things, if that is my one little bugger to mention. Anyways, There is no respectful handshake this time around, predictably. Collar and elbow tie, but a toss by Ripley. A collar and elbow tie up again, and another toss by Ripley. Drop kick by Io, and a back body drop by Ripley, and some boots when she's got her on the ground. Seated abdominal stretch by Ripley, who works on the ribs. Ripley stands on the back and goes back to the abdominal stretch once again. Both women trade some punches. Body scissor by Ripley, a drop kick by Ripley, a delayed vertical suplex because she's just that powerful, and back to the body scissors once again. Forearms by Io, head scissor by Io, suicide crossbody. I love the fact, first of all, the entire first half of this match is just working the midsection of Io Shirai. Io Shirai, obviously, for as long as she's been doing this, can sell it great, but Rhea Ripley knows her character, knows her stance in the ring, knows how to be that bigger person and take every advantage of that. But as we sort of come into Io's comeback, I love that her suicide isn't a bog standard suicide dive, which has become cliche in this day and age. I love that her suicide dive is almost a suicide crossbody. It just makes it just different enough to make her stand out. Forearms to the back by Ripley, and they trade some strikes. 619 by Io, a missile dropkick, a superplex by Ripley from the top, which, if you take into account the fact that she's the tallest woman in the tournament, suplexing somebody standing on the top rope, it's probably the most terrifying version of a top rope superplex that we could possibly see in this tournament. So shout out for that. Ripley eats the post shoulder first, eats the double knees by Io, eats the moonsault, and Io Shirai gets the win. Now, I've heard some people say, again, I say I don't know Io Shirai that well, so I'm not going to be the one to come up here and wave the flag for her a whole lot. There are people that say she doesn't hit the moonsault perfectly. She always overshots a little bit. She doesn't land it the way it's supposed to be landed. And to that, I say, you show me a moonsault, because I know I can't do one. Fuck off. We do the same thing all over again. Kairi Sane brings the flowers into Io Shirai. Apparently they are very, very close. Apparently they wrestled in Japan together, which doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Triple H and Rhea Ripley embrace on the ramp. You gotta believe WWE as a whole looks at a powerhouse like Rhea Ripley and just sees dollar signs, as they should. Up at the top, you've got Triple H, you've got Toni Storm, you've got Io Shirai, you got Kairi Sane, and you got Sara Amato. They're all posing, they're all having some photo ops, obviously. And they do the whole, like, standoff with each one of them pointing fists at the other, getting ready for the pay-per-view. But the two that have made it this far, Io Shirai, Toni Storm, they do embrace, they do have that common show of respect as we go off the air. And I'll reiterate, we will be doing a pay-per-view pick-em for Evolution. There's a lot going on at Evolution. Some of it's better than others. We've got the Battle Royal. We've got the Riot Squad versus Banks, Bailey, and Natty. We've got Trish and Lita versus Mickie James and hopefully Alexa Bliss if she's not injured. I hear she's going to be replaced by Alicia Fox. That's a bit weird. We got the Charlotte and Becky last woman standing match. We've got Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella, which is driving everybody nuts. We've got Kairi Sane, who we saw tonight, taking on Shayna Baszler. All these titles being thrown around. I thought we were going to get news about the NXT UK women's title, but apparently the timing just doesn't line up on that I've read so far. I'm not going to lie, one of the most intriguing matches coming up this Sunday is Io Shirai, Toni Storm, finals of the Mae Young Classic 2018. There's not really much else to say other than thank you once again for those of you that are following me in this series. I hope you'll follow me with whatever I do next. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all of these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am... I've been telling you guys for a little bit now, watch out on Fight TV for Destiny Wrestling's first ever pay-per-view, Fearless. I dropped a couple of the names that are going to be involved in the show last time I talked about it, but we now have the official main event announced. Now, a little bit of backstory. Up until very, very recently, WWE UK champion Pete Dunne was the Destiny World Champion. Now, due to injury, he couldn't come over from the UK to Mississauga to defend his title against Josh Alexander, Toronto boy, hometown boy, etc. So they needed to crown an interim Destiny World Champion, and it was fought between Josh Alexander, low key, and one of the local guys within the federation by the name of Aiden. Now, Josh Alexander got his hometown victory moment. He is the Destiny Wrestling interim world champion. He's going on to Fearless on Fight TV to face Rich Swann and Ray Phoenix. So if you weren't already going to check it out, you might want to check it out now. Tell them I sent you, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.